Hey y'all, so welcome back to another episode of Mr. and Mrs. Godfrey. This episode is gonna be a little bit different because we are having some guests join us. Well, not that different because we've had a few episodes where we've had guests outside of ourselves join us. But this, we had Brian, we had Zion and Zoe.
Okay.
Yeah. Not sure when this video is coming up, but anyway, we've had videos where we've had people outside of ourselves. So the reason we wanted to do this video is because we've always said it, while this channel is, family and fun, it's also intended to be educational, and we're also learning from what you share in the comments. So it's a give and take type channel. But our guests this episode, we invited them specifically because they have an amazing testimony of how God brought them together. And, we pay attention to the analytics of our video, and we recognize that quite a few singles, I don't know if it's singles. Okay, no, you can't tell if someone's single. It's just the age. And like demographic. So we pay attention to our demographic. And comments, that's what it is. We notice that a lot of people are believing God for marriage when we read our comments. So we want to periodically bring couples on who can share their basically supernatural testimonies of how God brought them together, because you guys have heard our story. It was literally God. And once you hear theirs, you'll see the same. And our expectation and hope is that people's faith, is renewed and they're excited and expectant. So if you've lost hope in believing God for marriage or any other miracles or blessings you're believing God for, that these videos and these testimonies can be a point of contact for you. So we're going to bring, should I say the names? Yeah. So our friends Palmira and Kunle, their husband and wife, and they'll be joining us on this episode to share about how God brought them together and, the different ways they went through their friendship before they became a couple.
Incredible story. And like like my wife said, this channel, we pray that this channel would go beyond the fun and the gists, to become like a tool for people to be blessed, for people to learn, for people to get closer to God, for people to find their path with God and destiny. We keep praying, and we're praying again that this story will inspire you and be a blessing to you. Yes. Please, just make sure you just go through, listen to this. I don't want to call it story. I'll call it testimony, and share it to everyone that that is single, because this might just help them, their concepts on what relationship should be like, or how they can just find their wife or their husband. So share it, like it, and I hope it does really bless you. Yes. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Now.
Oh, before we go, baby, who are we wearing today?
Oh, yeah. Listen, want to especially thank Ouch. Ouch styled us today. This is an African sort of design. The guy is absolutely amazing. And he gave me a couple of things, and
he made sure I got one too. Thank you.
Thank you, Ouch, for clothing us. And we just want to support African brands too.
Yes.
So if you've got anything that you want for us to just push out and help you support, please send email to the email that you're seeing right
down
now
in the description.
All right, God bless you. Now enjoy this amazing, thoroughly incredible, mind-blowing testimony.
So thank you, Palmira and Kunle, for being here with us this evening to share your amazing testimony. We've shared a few videos of different parts of our testimony and our relationship, but we know that we're not the only people who have amazing testimonies that can be a blessing. So, you guys, I'm not going to tell too much of your story, but they have an awesome story of how they came together and just what's going on in their lives now. So I'm not going to say too much, baby. You want to say something before we just
again, thank you for coming.
in?
Thank you so much for coming. You know, again, it's important for, I mean, this is basically for people that are probably believing God for the right spouse. Right is in capital letter.
Not just a spouse.
Not just any spouse. Right one. This is for people that know people. So if you know people, this would be a good time this would be a good episode to send to whoever that is, I mean, believing God for a good relationship, or you probably have suffered from anything in relationship and you just need some sort of encouragement. This would be a good episode. Now, this is not probably the first time we've had two guests though, but it's the first. The first person people had as guests was Phil Thompson and the wife.
Oh, but, we're gonna have to get them back.
Yeah, we can get them back. For some reason, something went wrong with the production.
Yeah, the recording,
fascinating story, beautiful story,
amazing story.
So we're gonna get back Phil Thompson and T to come back again. But thank you, Palmira. By the way, Palmira is an amazing worship leader. Super. Like I said before, I'm gonna say it again. The moment she gets on stage and holds that mic, she has not started singing. Every demon, those ones that press you at night, those ones that caterers, those ones that cater food for you at night, they will start running. They'll take off immediately. She's such a blessing. Her voice pierces, tears, like you see windscreen start tearing, everything, glasses are breaking when she's like, okay, that's too much.
You need to get me to do a promo video. I'm telling you.
Palmira is an amazing worship minstrel, and then Kunle here is a pianist, a producer, and also a music director. Super beautiful. And a doctor too. And people don't know that. Yeah, he's a doctor. I'm surprised. I'm just hearing for the first time though. Now, Palmira, I've known you for years, and you know, I know a bit of your story, but I probably would not know much. And you know, people sometimes don't share what they've been through in life, and as Christians, most times we just want to tell either the surface or want to tell the good parts. And I think it's time for us to be sharing the truth about where we're coming from, you know, so that the younger ones will not make mistakes and mess up their lives. So I'm going to leave it to you guys now first to tell us where you were before you met your husband, where you were before you met your wife. And, you know, my prayer is for everyone, and please, you cannot afford to miss. Please share this to as much people. That would be an encouragement to them, because it's possible that people are going through where she was. In fact, my wife has her own story too. I mean, where I have my own crazy situation too, you know. But let's hear from either or both of you. I mean, you decide who can start. But where were you? What was it like? The years, the months, the weeks, the days before you met your husband or your wife?
Well,
take time.
Yeah. Thank you, for having us. This is a great privilege to be here and share, our story. We've always kind of been very conservative, just, I don't know. I married a very conservative,
yeah.
Okay,
that is the disturbing way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
but such a calm man. I mean,
he's
by the way,
calm
just before you continue, somebody once told me that husband used to have almost like 6-pack and all of those things.
Hey.
The moment, say the nights, I think it was the husband that was saying this. The night that he got married, his 6-pack disappeared. Palmira is one of the best cook ever.
Just left my body.
Palmira cooks heaven and earth. And it's by force he must eat it.
You finished the plate, so so it's an amazing story. It's a lot, but I'm gonna try to be very, very brief with it and just try to shrink everything in it. I will try not to be emotional because my story is very, very emotional. And when people see me, they don't see the person the things I've been through. Everybody seems like, oh, she's at your ball, everything going well, but so
were you born in a family and all of that?
I was born in a family, a very beautiful family of we were five siblings, and then my parents, my mom and my dad. My dad was in the military before he resigned, and he became an interior decorator. And my mom was like a jack of all trades. She does everything, and she does it good. So, but unfortunately, I lost them at a very tender age. I think I was 10 when my dad died. Then my grandma followed, then my mom followed. So all the people that I looked up to, just were out of my life. And we were just trying to survive. And you know how it is when you lose your parents, that's when you know if you have family, So, well, to cut it short, I moved to Lagos. I was born in the north, and then and I moved to Lagos. I stayed with a guardian, and it was I would say it's a beautiful story. I won't go into details, but she did the best that she could. But it's very important that we, parents, to raise their kids with love and compassion. And because however you raise your child will grow to raise their children that way. And they think is the right way to raise a child. So I went through a lot with all that. And eventually, started living by myself with my sister. She got to Lagos, and we moved to a house and started living there before other siblings joined us. But I would say that my story, my desire was to be married, but the doors that God was opening wasn't married yet. So we have a way of complaining, God, when is it going to be? Is it this brother? Is it this brother? Is it that brother? But God told me, just focus on what I'm telling you. And every day led me closer and closer to this man. Aww. For every obedience led me closer to him. Up until I got to the United States. When I got to the United States, I prayed, God, I don't want to gallivant churches. Just send me to one church, just one church. Because it's very important. Positioning is important. Yes. And being everywhere sometimes it doesn't pay, but just align with God and be somewhere. So when I got to the church, I didn't even literally notice him, because my mind was going towards tall, fair, hey, chim, in the spec
and hairy,
hey,
but fair and hairy.
But
that's racist.
I had to add that. Fairy and hairy.
Fairy.
Hey, as in the spec, let me say the spec. It was not. So I was just looking. We ladies, God help us.
Please.
We were in church, we were looking. Oh, is that brother? Oh, that brother is hot. Oh,
you guys do that?
No, there was a whole yeah, it was like every guy who's being nice to you isn't trying to marry you.
Exactly. Is he the one? He spoke to me nicely, so
he smiled at me.
In your mind, he's like, maybe he's thinking, innocently, the brother is just being nice.
Yeah.
But we want to kill ourselves. Like, this is the brother. So we met in church. So I've been going to the church like 1 year before we, kind of even became friends. And it was strange how we became friends. Told favored, I was in her house, so I cooked a lot in the house, So sometimes she would say, hey, all the single brothers in the choir, please come to my house where there's food.
Baby, I think we should start this whole idea of inviting just for games nights.
I actually had that idea. That is so wild. Yeah. Like when we did something here. I'm sorry, we jumped in all over the place. We had something here on Memorial Day for my birthday. And I had a thought to do it like, if not every month, every other month. Yeah. And we just invite singles.
Come play games.
Like, not that our married friends can't come, but we want to intentionally create a space for singles to meet.
It is a very good idea. Please do that.
Let's do that.
Do it. Do it. Because for me, I felt like, I just love to cook. Let me just cook. So when they come, they just eat. And Tommy is so, she's just so generous. So, eat, hey, eat. You're doing shakara. just embarrassed sometimes. Saying, "You're doing shakara, just sit down there. So what happened was, at that point, I saw him wearing this beautiful green shirt, you know,
I remember what he was wearing.
and the pants, you know, was just all on point. And I was like, okay, he's well dressed, and it smells good too. And I was like, well, that's just it, short. You know.
He's still short.
Yes, he wasn't that tall like I wanted.
You're like, anyway.
My sister, I was looking at my weight. I didn't want to marry somebody. Well, there's nothing wrong in marrying a short guy or somebody in my height, but I felt like because I was on a big side, I didn't want a guy.
More obvious.
Yeah, and then you know I look like his bouncer beside you. I just imagine when you're pregnant, you know you get bigger, and the guy is walking beside you like pencil, and you're like zero.
No wonder you are feeding him.
When I was pregnant and walking next to you.
No. I cannot look like that.
You know. So I just had this weird imagination. I was like, oh, okay. And you know, tall guys, there's this thing that you just feel where the tall guy just.
It's so funny. It's so funny how we have these ideas in our minds about like what makes a good spouse, and none of it is biblical. But we're like, he wouldn't be a good husband.
Like it's, when you hug him, your head is on his chest and you hear his heartbeat. You know, it's good to desire what you want, but on a lighter note, I was just. So, and what happened that day, there was a wedding in church, and then Tommy was like, oh, we were running late for the wedding. Okay, would you go with Kunle? You know, myself and my husband, we're going to be coming at the bar. I was like, hey, no, yeah. Hey. I was just like, but Tommy, I'll wait for you. She said, no, be going, no. She was like, she's doing it out of love. Like, which guy? Well, be going, Josh was just.
With all this, what was your response like? You knew what was going on. Just freely just being.
I was just smiling through all.
Oh, so you knew that Tommy was telling her to come ride with you?
Well, it was obvious. So
oh, yeah?
Like, no, you're not riding with me. You're riding with him. And in my mind,
did you like her that time or nothing?
No,
she wasn't on your radar yet. She was just a sister from church.
This was just another sister, another choir member.
Okay. You know. Yeah. But she was already thinking different things. Come on now.
No, well. I just saw that he looked good with his outfit. Because I love when a guy understands his body and he wears clothes that fit his body structure. It's not the one you wear, you know, towards an eba. Let me not say it. So, but anyway, he was well put together. And I was like, remember, I was like, okay, and because I'm naturally a shy person. People don't know. I'm a very shy person. So like, and the dress I was wearing was a little, if I sit, it's gonna,
rise up. So
when I, got into the car, Tommy did, I'll say.
I wonder if Tommy was trying to.
She's looking out for him and looking out for me. And to her, it's like, oh, this good girl, this good guy. Both of you could do, could match up.
And the guy was not saying that.
So I'm wondering if Tommy was trying to put you guys together, like by encouraging you to ride with him.
She was just trying to just be randomly
help you see.
Oh, so no intention of like putting
just try to walk fine. It doesn't work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She was just trying to make us notice each other.
Sometimes people don't notice until you kind of like,
So that's a word to somebody. You know, not to go out your way, but open your eyes. Ask the Lord to open your eyes.
Look well. Look around you. So when I sat in the car and she was like, what is all this scarf that you're carrying about? Because we ladies like to take extra scarf. She just dragged it from my arm. Give me this scarf. Don't try to cover yourself up.
Wow,
I'm telling you. Yeah. She was like, give me this scarf. She just let it up. Enjoy yourselves, please. Thank you. Oh my God, I felt so embarrassed.
Wow.
But I said, well, we can handle it. He handled it well. And I said, okay, well, worst case scenario, we just have a conversation. For me, I got to know him. I was like, okay. We talked about similar things, I love UFC.
Really?
I love there are crazy things that I
love. UFC. I can't.
My husband says I'm weird. Like that.
You don't like UFC?
No, he does.
It's just weird to me that you would ask her, what do you like? Oh, I like.
And a woman would say you.
Like, Like,
She said
you know,
what?
the kind of responses, oh, I like to go to the gun range. Oh, I like UFC.
Wow.
It seemed like all these violent things are the things that she likes. And it was just strange.
Because she's a warrior in the spirit.
A
Thank
fighter.
you.
It's always fighting
Warrior
back.
in heels. Hey.
Always shutting down all the demons. So she's practicing in physical what she did.
I get it.
So he was like, oh, I thought you were going to say, oh, this pinky, lovey. I said, I love it though. I love taking care of myself. But things I do for leisure is not the regular thing. That's just it. So, you know, and we talked and we kind of like, you know, I picked his brain and he's smart. He's intelligent. So I was like, okay, good. But that's where it ended.
Oh, wow.
So fast forward to pandemic. So during pandemic, this is where waiting, you know, the wait I waited in this life, it grew. Help me share. It had this, I don't know, I can't explain it.
Strong.
My weight was like cooking beans with boiling ring. Imagine how long it's
that?
Imagine how long it's gonna take that beans to cook. That was how my weight
So
was.
maybe you're cooking beans with that kettle right there.
Like not sufficient fire. Like
Yeah,
fire.
it would
And
take
then
forever.
It takes forever. And that was how my waiting was. So during pandemic, you know, everybody was shut down. I said, hey, my life has come to an end though. So what if this pandemic does not stop? Like, you know, what if we never come out of this shutdown? So what I can get old? Sorry. So this is how I'm just going to be old, you know, and not experience the dream and desires I had for marriage. And at that point, I almost went into another state of depression. And I was like, no, the devil cannot have me this time. And, you know, it's always good to join community. It's important. Like what Mr. and Mrs. Godfrey want to start doing now. If you watch it, please come. When they put, you know, invitation for game nights and all that, please go.
You guys might need to rent another space because
Please come out. Like, it's not that that's the necessary thing to do. That's where you can find your husband. But sometimes it works that way. And don't go with the mindset of today I'm going to find husband. No, just go enjoy your life. Like, have a good time. So, and I started telling myself, say, Pam, you're single. You're almost 40. But you need to enjoy your single life. And thank God before the pandemic, I enjoyed my life. I traveled. I did what I love to do. And, you know, in pandemic, I said, okay, I'm going to start doing something every day that will keep my mind sane. So I increased my workouts and increased my welfare services. Sometimes I will cook. I'll just cook and just take to church, you know, for the rest of the choir members. Just, you know, just something that gives me joy. I started attending online community for ladies. We started praying every Saturday. I started joining LDM online. I looked for, because Pastor Kingsley and Pastor Mildred, they're my pastors in Nigeria. So I kept up, you know, watching the program. So there was this program they did when women pray. And I fasted with them, fruit fast, you know, I was just enjoying my life. And I was even telling some of the ladies in the community that were already like giving up, they were tired of waiting. Some of them were over 40. And I was just telling them, look, someone mentioned something like maybe husband has finished. I said, never.
Amen.
As if husband has finished, God will create my own today.
Amen.
Hey, it's not something you use. Hello? Okay. Hey. I said, this life, I will marry. I said, God say, Palmira, that's not your calling. But you see, because you have put the desire in me, if husband has finished, you will create my own. You take sand, you take water, you do it like this. The guy will just appear back in front of my door. I say it's possible. If you make some miracles happen in the Bible, and to us it seems like it's a lie, then how will my own now be difficult? I say, I will do everything you want me to do, but you see, husband have finished, create my own.
I will not receive that.
I didn't know that he was creating one.
Wow.
In a sense of getting him to see me, right? And getting me to see him. So at that time, I took my mind off marriage for 2 years before pandemic.
So you guys knew each other 2 years before.
Exactly. We knew each other 2 years before we even looked at each other. So he was looking for Oyibo.
Yeah,
White woman.
Amen. You know, the seed is somebody's
Hey, I told him, I said, you would have been very hungry. You see the six pack you had, eh? Oh Lord, he got the thing. That's the pin. I saw that mercy, well, you would have you'd be eating salad, sandwich, because they grass every day. They don't have Okay, so
oh my gosh,
have mercy on me. I'm trying to Palmira, calm down. So, at that point, I was like, okay, God is trying to say something to me. But I made a promise to God. I said, God, I'm going to take this desire of marriage away from my mind because I thought at some point it was becoming an idol. And I just told myself, Palm, that's it. It's good to desire it, pray about it, thank God for it, and then move on with your life. Enjoy your life. Study, improve, prepare. Do something with your life. Find ways to make yourself happy because your husband is not the person that will make you happy.
Amen.
If you're not whole in yourself, you can never be whole in marriage.
Yes.
And that was the advice I was giving myself. And I eventually, in that process, we started going to church for recordings because we couldn't go, in person. So it was online service, but we had to do recordings in the choir. So now there's no audience, no distraction. If we're like 10, we know that we are 10. I'll be looking at each other's eye as 10. 10 people, there. So before that time, I had 2 friends, separate times. I've never discussed anything relationship with them, but they called me separate times and said, we saw you get married to him. I laughed like Sarah laughed. In fact, my own laugh was more.
So was it like they dreamed or was it a vision?
It was a vision.
Okay.
So they said, they just felt led to pray for me. And eventually they saw, one of them said, I saw you get married to him. The other one said, I saw you got engaged. I said, hey, you actually pictured it in your mind that we get married, then you slept. Then in the dream, you now saw it because my spec was not him. So, but I laughed and I waved it aside. Funny enough, I had this thing I do with a friend of mine. We kind of clothe the homeless. So we get people donate clothing, we sort it out, and then take it to the downtown for the homeless. So we kept doing that, and all the clothing we had about 20 bags of clothes. So imagine how everybody's clothes is there. But there was this particular bag that I opened. There was this fragrance that came out of the bag.
Wow.
And the clothes were neatly, folded. I said, who has this bag? Who has this
Your
bag?
husband.
I didn't know he was the one.
Wow.
So there was this smell that came out of it. And instantly, I started crushing on him. Instantly.
Oh, wow.
Before I knew it was his clothes. I'm telling you. I was like, this is weird. I told my friend, she was like, hey. So I opened it and I recognized that particular shirt.
The shirt he wore
That he was-
at
he wore.
Tommy's house. Okay.
And I said, this is strange. I said, Cut! Holy Ghost fire! This is not real. So, I forgot about that day. But that was where it started.
Okay.
And subsequently, I fell ill during the pandemic. And I got to a point where I was sick, my hormones were just all over the place, I was bloating. I didn't know what was wrong with me, but I just noticed I was not myself. So, and one morning, I just got up and just put scissors on my hair and just chopped off. So imagine that I was going crazy, my body, I was in pain, 24 hours, 7 days a week. I was in pain. And I called a friend of mine. I said, I'm going through this. I don't know what's going on. And everybody rallied around me. I said, oh, you need surgery. You need that. And eventually, that friend called him and said, please, I need you to come stay in my house because we lived in the same unit. And he said, I need you to come stay, in my house, which is the guy. And he called another female friend of his and said, please, I need you in her house so you can look after her. And she is a nurse. And he's a chiropractor doctor. So, and then when they got to my house, everybody was taking turns, taking care of me. And it was in that moment that God says, my daughter, you have been too serious with your life. Open your eyes. This is the time.
Wait. Okay, I think maybe you should have to pause. I want to hear.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to chime in.
Start from what you were before you got to her house,
Okay.
and before they gave you that call.
Okay. All right. So I'll try to just make it very brief. I didn't grow up. I still have my parents. Thank God. So I had family. I had everything. I grew up in a setting with everybody present. So for me, I didn't date a lot. I spent most of my single period just being by myself, and that time was not a very well. I had some bad relationships along the way, but during at least 2 full years before I started even talking to her, I was just by myself, and it wasn't a fun time because church people, for some reason, in their mind, they think they're helping you, but they have a way of making you just not feel comfortable being a single person at a certain age. And I'm saying this to the camera so that people that are watching can take note and stop doing it. For instance, you see me at the church lobby talking to a lady, and somebody from nowhere just, oh, my brother, he's a good guy. Give him a chance. And you're
like, what?
And in my mind, I'm like,
awkward. Now it's awkward.
I am just saying hello to a single lady.
Wow.
Or you have people calling you and say, oh, this year, it's going to happen this year. It's unnecessary pressure.
Yeah.
If
you're already stressing, it's adding on to that. And if you're contented, it's making you wonder, like, should I be worried?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I'm having, which I didn't have pressure from family members, but let's say I'm having pressure from family members and having pressure outside, I shouldn't face that pressure at church. Church should be a safe haven, right? But for most single people that I know, that the church, somehow they make it difficult to be a single person at a certain age in the church, because they think when they talk to you like that, they think, oh, they're helping you. So my suggestion would be, if you care for a single person like that, how about you pray for them?
Hey,
Just,
amen.
You can get on your knees and pray for them even without them knowing. You don't need to harass anybody.
Yeah.
So I dealt with a lot of that. Everybody said, oh, look at that person, look at that person, look at that person. So it got to a point where I was not looking at anyone. I was just having fun. So let's fast forward to that fateful day that, we were at Tommy's house. Even before then, she came to church as a guest one time like that. Yeah, she came to church as a guest. So when she came, I was like, who is that person? But I didn't know who she came with. So I didn't know who to ask. And I was in a rush to leave that day. I had an appointment to keep, so I didn't get to talk to her. But I noticed her, and that was it. And I think later I found out she traveled. She came to the United States and she traveled back. So I didn't see her for a while later.
Wow.
Then the second time around she came, I was not at church. She ministered at church that weekend. I was not around again. So now I missed her the second time. Then the third time I noticed her was when she finally came to stay. So now she's in the church. I see her every now and then, but I still didn't. There was no excitement about it. Like, okay, let me go talk to her. She's just, oh, well, I know her. I observed her. So then when we started going to Tommy's house to have lunch, because she did this multiple times. The first time I really paid attention was that day that we sat in the car together. Okay? We had our little drive to the church. We did whatever we did. We went our ways. So now at this point, she's just a friend. Okay? I would say hi, hello, whatever. Nothing serious. Every now and then, we'll go to the movies, but it's not that we're going alone. It's maybe a friend of a friend and a friend. Like a bunch of us will hang out. So she became a buddy, a friend. Then during the lockdown, now have in mind, I know her, but I've never visited her house. I don't know where she lives, or I know where she lives, but I've never been to her house. So during the lockdown, I wasn't working. I was just by myself, and I was really enjoying being alone. And my people were freaking out, like, how can you enjoy being alone? You've been in your apartment for over a month, and you're okay. You're not missing anybody. You're not missing anything. I said, no, I'm fine. I'm enjoying my time by myself. So now this friend of mine, they live in the same apartment complex. He called me up. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, there's nothing. I'm just here, just being by myself." He said, "Well, you're a single guy. I'm a single guy. Come over. Come spend the week with me." No, actually, he said, "Come spend the weekend with me." That's how it started. So I said, "Okay, let me gather my things." So I drove over. I got to his apartment. I kept knocking at the door. He was not home.
Weird.
And I called him. I said, "You told me to come. So where are you?" Oh, he said, "Oh, I went to the store real quick. I'll be right back. Sit in your car. Wait for me." So I sat in the car. Then it just dawned on me, hey, she lives in this complex as well, right? So I called her. "What are you doing? Are you home?" She said, "Yeah." So I went over. So I went to her apartment complex. Then we were just hanging out. About an hour later, she started rolling on the floor. Like she had stomach discomfort. And, she was trying to not, lose her composure. But eventually she just had to and that got me scared. And I called this guy. I said, "Where are you?" I was like, "Hey, come over here now. Like, I think we have a medical emergency here and we got to do something fast." So he came. To cut a long story short, we ended up at the ER that night. And we did not leave the emergency room until like 6 a.m. the next morning. This was like from 6 p.m. till about 6 a.m. the next morning. So we had to sit in the car and sleep in the car while they were attending to her, right? So when they released her, we knew exactly what it was, and we started taking care of the situation. So when I returned to my friend, we were still kind of like, okay, how are we gonna we can't just leave her by herself. She's by herself. Then he said, "Oh, you're not going back. You're not going back." And I leave, at the time I leave about an hour away. He said, "Oh, you're not going back. Let's just go to the store and buy you some things. You're staying." I said, "No, I didn't plan on staying. I just came to, spend a weekend with you and leave." Right. So one weekend now became a whole week.
Okay.
And that whole week now became 2 weeks.
What were you doing that whole week?
What? And during that time, we were trying to see to her as well.
Okay.
So I just felt something just told me just to serve. There was no ulterior motive. I just saw somebody in need. She was truly needed help, and there was no help. And something just whispered to me and say, "Serve." So I'm available. I take her to medical appointments. I help her with groceries. I help her with not laundry. I help her with vacuum the house, just basic things.
Wait, you go woman house. They sweep house.
Yeah, so
they buy all those
things. So
and you honestly didn't have anything in your mind.
No, at the time it was nothing because I left.
She had that need. She was not feeling well, so you just those men, this kind of men do they really exist?
They still exist.
They do. But yeah.
Okay, maybe
the ones that God recreated.
This is the one you said I was gonna make one for you.
So I was there just being of service,
taking care of her and just.
And then one particular day, it's important to get to know people because, like she said, I had my spec. And she was not physically. She was not what I was looking for. I was not even looking for a Nigerian. Period. I was looking for people from other races. And we got to talking.
We were looking for people from other races, and they were racing away.
They were racing away, right? So we got to talking, and I started realizing that everything that I pray about. It's like I'm seeing it right in front of me, and I'm hearing that voice. Like it's almost like she hears me when I pray, and she just tells me to my face what I've been praying about in secret. Then I started realizing that we have the same interests in music, interest in outdoor activities, interest in adventure, everything. It's almost like everything everything's synced. And at that point, I was kind of let me start paying more attention. And as I was vacuuming one day,
come on now,
as he was serving,
okay, I was vacuuming, and something just said, "Look up." And I looked at her like
I can do this. I can see me doing this.
It's like that's her. Just talk to her about it. Ask her about it. And in my mind, I'm like, I didn't want to say anything because now it would look like I was taking advantage.
Yeah.
So I hesitated because you're like, oh, so because you've been helping me now, you think you can just come on, So I didn't say anything for about 2 weeks. But it's almost like something kept reminding me and said, this is what you've been asking for. This is it. Say something. So one day I summoned up courage. I said, you know what do you think about me? I didn't even say it like, oh, I want to be with you or whatever. I just said, what do you think about me? She just smiled.
Bombastic side eye.
She's like,
What would she think when you are cleaning her house, when you are buying groceries, when you are taking care
She's
of her?
thinking, what took you
What
so
would she
long?
think?
exactly.
And interestingly, she was carrying clothes one day that they want to give people and opened, and one smelling sabo came out from the cloth and she started crushing her. And suddenly,
somehow, what, 2 years before?
Yeah.
Somehow
For 2
you were
years,
in
you
his
had a
house,
crush.
you were in her house cleaning, and you're
Well,
asking her what she thinks
at
about
some point
you.
it just went away. But
Okay.
it was just like there's a possibility here.
Ah.
So you could,
Yeah.
And that was where God started dealing with me on spec.
Okay.
That's what
God said,
was
leave that
at.
thing you're looking for.
Yeah,
God told you
because
that erase that.
sometimes we shortchange
shortchange.
ourselves when we limit what we want to
To
a
the
certain
physical.
or to a certain spec, or he's got to make X amount of dollars before or he's got to look a certain way. No, for me it was just serve, and God rewarded me for serving.
Yeah.
Because I had no ulterior motives. As a matter of fact, she was sick, so she wasn't looking glamorous.
Remember, I chopped off my hair
wasn't
with
looking glamorous.
scissors, so it wasn't looking good.
Yeah, and
I
she wasn't well kept
bloated,
because she
I
was ill.
But you saw her heart.
Whoosh.
But it was during that time that I actually noticed her.
Yes.
And when I said, what do you think about me? She just smiled. She was like, you waited too long.
I said it.
She was like, you waited too long. So it's like she already had it settled in her mind, and she's like, when you're ready.
If I
Because it's
caught
he who finds a wife.
Exactly.
You don't have to do too much.
if I have to chip in there, when I told him he waited too long, is because 2 months before he spoke, I already knew. I asked God for a lot of confirmation. So all the time we were going to church, I was still okay. I was praying. And I'm like, God, if he's the one, you will make him come to me. I'm not going to chase after him. Because I was like, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's how I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So I prayed and God showed me all kinds of confirmation, even from people that I never told anything. So when he started coming around, I wasn't bothered. I was like, it was gonna happen at the right time. And that was a word God gave me all the while that has kept me. At the right time, I will make things beautiful.
And the fullness of
And if you try to help God, you're gonna mess that story up. Just let God finish what he started, because he's the master of finishing.
Amen.
Yeah, so continue, babe.
Yeah, so then we started dating.
Okay.
And so
Quietly.
Because once again, people, they have a way of just messing things
Because
up.
the next thing would have been, when are you getting married?
Exactly.
Unnecessary pressure. So we started dating quietly, and I got to meet her people. She got to meet my people. Now the strangest thing happened when she met my mom. Now I'm fast forwarding things, right? When she met my mom said, "What's your name?" She said, "My name is Palmira." My mom said, She said, "I won't call you Palmira. She said, I'll call you Palmira." That's okay. So now Palmira in Yoruba language means make me laugh for joy. So instead of Palmira, she said Palmira.
Come on now.
First time. She has not met her prior. Never. I just told her, I said, "Mom, I want you to meet somebody." And then, of course, my sister came along. It's like, I want to meet her too.
We meeting people.
And once she left, my sister said, "Boy, if you lose this one, I don't know what to tell you. But this is it. Yeah, this is it." So the approval was everywhere. I mean, I prayed for confirmation, several confirmations, and I had this peace. Like this one, I have peace. I dated people, I mean, they're great people, wonderful people, but there's just this uneasiness. But when it got to this, it was just peaceful all over.
Yes.
And
So it's really interesting how, and this is so powerful, that it was in her down moments that God chose to connect both of you together. It was when she was sick. I mean, it's the last thing I would expect a guy to be coming to do. You know, it's the last thing that me as a man would want to go and start doing for a woman that I'm not dating, nothing, to just get in there. Okay, if I want to help you, I could be nice the first day and then move on. Sort that yourself, your family, you have people around. So sometimes, again, we don't know what we have missed because we have not given ourselves to really serving.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, you kept going there, and each time you mention serving, it reminds me about Joseph. How that Joseph was serving other people's dream. What I mean, interpreting other people's dream, which is like serving people's dream. And whilst he was interpreting other people's dream, his own dream came to pass. Because somebody that he interpreted his dream went to go and say, I knew somebody. It was because he served, he helped somebody else's dream come true, that his own dream came true. So sometimes, like, service is such a big thing, not because of just relationship, even for life. So it's so powerful where in a place where it's not normal. I mean, and a lot of people would have missed who they're supposed to get married to, missed opportunity in businesses, missed opportunity in life because they chose not to serve. And serving, it's not people using you. I tell people, nobody has the power to use anybody. You cannot use anybody. What we as humans, because somebody was dealing with us, because I used to be a houseboy and the guy beat me, I have wounds that the marks are still in my body right now. But in that service, whilst it looked like for me then as he was being mean to me and all of those things, I mean, God was teaching me lessons about life. Every using is not really using. Some of them, it is God training you and putting it together. And He knows where you're going to. So you need to go through all of those things. Who would have thought that Joseph would be in the pit and think that he still had a dream? He had a dream, he had ideas, he had everything. But until he got to the point where he started serving other people's dream and interpreting other people's dream and helping other people's dream come true, then his own dream came true because it's just referral. So people would have seen you, the guy would have known that you're a good guy for him to have invited you to come to her place. Because the guy probably has other friends. He would have called her, if I call this one now, he will start doing and that thing. If I call this one now, he said, let me call this guy. He's responsible. He's proven over and over again. And it's okay. So it's important that even when you live your life as a young guy, as a young girl, everywhere you go to, you stay as responsible. Everybody that talks about my wife say, man, your wife, people will be telling me that, you know, you don't know what God did for you to give your wife. Even though my wife also knows that God blessed her so much by giving. So, but people that know her said that to me. People that know me say that to her too.
But that's actually how we were connected. Michael's opinion of the two of us.
Said that, this girl, this. So every life you live, everywhere you go to, you have to, and there's nothing wrong with getting into a place and helping out. Being, as a lady, getting into a place, be
kind, be
just
nice,
do stuff.
be meek.
Somebody is just watching somewhere. That is a crazy story to know that you went to start helping her, and not just one day, not 2 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, all of this. 2 months, just taking care of her, being there for her until God said, you know, I mean, just like Abraham that's trying to sacrifice, and like, look at your side, guys. Look at, and God said, you are wandering since you are looking for one race, and they are racing out, and you are look at the exact race, racing away. So this is so powerful, and I hope that we have all learned that, you know what, you can't, whilst you're looking, I mean, and sometimes not everything that you desire and in your wish lists and everything, tall guy, this one, 6-pack, or the guy must have money, or the girl must be certain way, white girl that has this. Not everything. In fact, every one of those things would be tried. So you have to make sure that you check the person's innermost personality.
That's the most important.
The one that you don't see.
And
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You know, just like you say, it's very important to be good to people. You know, imagine if I had messed up the relationship, just being a nasty person for 2 years that we've known each other.
Or even she just saw you and said, please, what's this one?
Exactly.
This guy, he's even short.
Exactly.
This one, this is not my, and just say something weird somewhere. You probably would have shut down yourself because she didn't feel like you are her kind of person, but she didn't
have to disrespect him
expose or mess herself up by just disrespecting yourself.
Like it's just the height and the color. And it can change. If somebody who is light skinned go under the sun, you come back looking like burnt orange. You know, so it's just the color and all that.
Before, I know what you're talking about.
Exactly. You know,
and you know, it was her most vulnerable state. She was sick, but another thing that really made me start paying attention is, even in the midst of all that, things weren't going her way. She wasn't feeling well, but she didn't lose her composure. She didn't become mean, nasty, angry, you know, because of what she was going through. She still remained a very, very nice person. You know, some people fall sick, then that's an excuse to be nasty to everybody, but it wasn't her. And that, for me, that was like a big plus, because I needed to know, how does this person react when things are not going her way? You know, when she's sick, when she's vulnerable. So good. And to me, she just passed, you know, she did well. She passed the exam. And that just made me focus on even more.
And, you know, we would have really missed a lot of things, you know, because marrying him, things started unveiling. I'm like, hey! So that's how I look like height. I'm just miss out on this one. Hey! Height to back up, you know? So it means height catch fire. I'm telling you, and I'm like, okay, it's not a bad thing to have a desire for the kind of person you want, but let that not be the primary. Let the content be the primary. In that content, you find other things, you know, fix other things. It can be fixed, like be giving the person nice massage, treat the person nice, take the person to spa. If the teeth is not okay, just go fix it. All those other things can be fixed, but you see the content, it's very important. And trust me, every time this man wakes up every day, he just tells me, like, you are a blessing. You are a blessing. You are a blessing. To me, I felt like people have never really told me that, because of after I lost my dad and my mom, you know, I've never really had nice words. Like he said, housemaid, I did worse than that. You know, I did housemaid for 14 years, and every day is nasty words I hear. So I've never really had someone tell me, oh, you're beautiful, oh, you're this, you're that. But I just look at myself sometimes in the mirror and I tell myself, I am beautiful. I am the one that will make my husband happy. You know, if you don't know anything, tell yourself, just go to the Bible, Proverbs 31, and declare that to yourself. And never look down on yourself. And when you meet people, be nice. You don't know who will connect you or who will say something about you to someone. It may not even be married, business. Connection, that door you're looking for is somebody that will connect it to somebody, and that will connect it to somebody. And I'm really grateful I married you. And over again, to the next life, it will be you. Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, it's so powerful.
Before you speak, I'm sorry. You know, I want to say this to people that are waiting. There's power in your words and there's power in your thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, I'm saying this because everything that she prayed for while she was waiting is what happened. From the day I proposed and I put a ring on it. Let me just cut a long story short. We had a wedding that we wanted, and I didn't pay a dime. The wedding was fully paid for, all expense paid wedding. I didn't pay for it. Then when she was talking to me, she said, that's what I've been praying for.
Wow.
The day we went out to say, oh, we're getting married, somebody just called me up and said, hey, do you have a list? I said, no, I don't have a list. I'm like, what list? He said, go get a list and get back to me. I called her up. I said, do we have a list? She said, no. I said, well, let's create one. In 2 hours, she sent me a list. I sent it to this friend of mine. 6 items. One person. He cleared it. Then from there, somebody gave money for this, money for that. Before I realized it, everything that I needed to do the wedding, everything we needed was provided. So 2 weeks before the wedding, we were just chilling, waiting for the day. We weren't paying for anything. Everything was paid for. We declared profit.
Wow.
Yes.
So you walked away from your wedding.
We declared profit even after the wedding.
The vendors were shocked, like, because usually they say, oh, it take time for the groom or the bride to send money. Everything was just paid off. Like, I can't explain to you how God did it. Even to honeymoon, to the place that we went, to the kind of hotel I wanted, everything was beyond what I dreamt about because of a spoken word. Just keep saying it and keep declaring it. And I just want to briefly say to everybody waiting is not easy. I know it is very difficult, especially if your waiting is like my own, cooking beans with boiling ring. It is terrible. Like it's hard, but it's doable. Because with God, you have to wait.
Yeah.
And everybody's destination is different. God used beans to teach me a lesson. And that's why I'm saying my waiting is like boiling ring, cooking beans. Sometime God told me, he said, every food has different time. Indomie, you can cook it in 5 minutes and you're done. Rice, sharp. But there's this beans, they call it akede. That black one, it takes 2 days to cook that beans. And God told me, if you cook that beans and it's not done, you bring it down and you serve your guests, they would call you names because it's not done. He said, your life could be like these beans. Your destiny could be like these beans because it takes a certain temperature and a certain time to cook you till done. Every other person may be Indomie, rice, spaghetti. Because you're getting married and things are happening for them and it's not happening for you doesn't mean that you're late in life or your case is worse. So he said, remember, it takes time for beans to get done. So if you see your friend get married, maybe her own case is Indomie. Or if you see the other person get married, maybe their case is spaghetti. But yours is beans. Be happy while you're cooking. Prepare yourself. Enjoy your life. Build your relationship with me. That way, you will hear me when I tell you this is the one. And that's just how I want to encourage you. Please enjoy your wedding. And find out whether your own is beans or Indomie or spaghetti. That's just the way I can explain it because that's how I got my own revelation.
You said something a while back, and I want to kind of like bring it back around. Of the things that you started doing for yourself in the waiting. And that was like so amazing because I did the same thing. And you hear, and it's kind of like, these married women once again telling us, that it's okay to wait. Now you're married and you're saying that, but it's so true. Like when you stop making it an idol, when you trust it in God's hands, when you're telling him, I want this thing, but I'm trusting you to bring it to me. And then you start focusing on you in the areas, things that you love. Like one of our videos, I shared that maybe like a month and a half before I met my husband, I started buying myself fresh flowers every week. And that was like something I had never done. But I'm like, I like flowers. Why don't I have fresh flowers if that's what I want? And just like you said, going to the gym and little things, like they seem like small things, but they add up to improve your overall quality of life. And what you end up with is realizing that I actually am okay in the waiting. Like, yes, I want companionship, but my life, thank you, God. You start to exude that gratitude, which then kind of like makes you a magnet for everything else you're believing God for. Because he's like, I can trust that you're not going to put this thing before me once I bring it to you. Because a lot of people have gotten married and thank you God, but you know, and it's like, what is that about? And then wonder why the marriage isn't working out because you washed your hands with God after you only used him, you know, to try and get married. So that's so good because, like you said, the wait is. There's no way around it.
Yeah, it's for your own good.
Yes,
because if you don't wait in marriage, there are many things you wait for, and trust me, there are many things we're waiting for.
Yeah,
but because God had built my capacity to be able to withstand some kind of obstacles, I am waiting on things, but I am not losing my peace because God had to train me to wait long, to be peaceful even in the waiting. So many things happen now. It's like, how are you still happy and just joyful? I'm like,
because God is good.
God is good. I know that He will do it. If He brought me all the way from Nigeria for you, anything can happen. And my faith is that strong. Like anything can happen. And you know, He was whispering to me that when He went to Nigeria, He kind of maybe
I went to
House on the Rock, and Tim Godfrey was there, but he was like a little close to him, but he didn't know, you know, he would say hi or no, but he said, then now look at me, I'm in Tim Godfrey's house. And on my wedding, he came as a surprise.
That one.
Crazy.
I almost passed out.
And that's part of that's part of the blessings I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, like things were happening. D just, maybe I shouldn't mention his name, but he just called me up and said, you know, I have a surprise for you guys.
I was saying, D, thank you.
Like, what are you talking about? He said, I'll tell you when I come pick you up.
Wow.
So on the day, he just told me, he said, Tim Godfrey's gonna be singing. What? Are you kidding me?
You guys got married August 2021?
Yes.
I feel like you told me about that because we met in August. I feel like you told me you were going to sing at a wedding. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, continue.
So even up until the day of the wedding, I did not know that was gonna happen.
I was like,
So of course the wedding it made me look good. I mean, like, you know, because like,
he shocked me like he was singing. I was like, okay.
He was singing,
And he was like, I do that video. And then you came from behind stage. And he was singing Nara. I was waiting for him to sing the Igbo part. Then when he got there, Tim Godfrey just jumped and said, hey! They have finished singing.
You know, but that's part of the blessing.
Beautiful. Like
things were just happening. That I
didn't even know. I didn't even.
That's
I got to see. So and now we're here
my
talking
daddy.
about it. You know, we were here talking about all of these things and see how God, it was a sequence of different things God put together. I mean, for me, this is so powerful, and I hope that we have learned from it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's so much we would have loved to even share, but everybody that you see has gone through, and they've not even given details of a lot. So for me, yes, like we've all said, waiting is very critical. You just she was talking about Indomie and all of those things. You know, if you make it, you know how everything has to happen sharp. No, patience is no longer what we talk about right now. And if you eat fast food, you know what it does to your body.
Yes.
The same way, if you rush into anything that you are not even prepared for, sometimes the question you have to ask yourself is that, will I marry me? Am I good enough? Have I prepared myself enough?
Yeah.
If somebody was, if I had the opportunity of marrying me, would I really be honest to myself to say that I'm ready? So prepare yourself. Everything that you have gone through, God is setting you up for something, and when you wait very well and do it right, you now discover that this is really there's so much you now discover. Like we keep even discovering where, I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Godfrey, I wouldn't have been doing it now. I mean, so there's so much that God is birthing as you grow because you married the right person. And waiting at 40, some of us there could be somebody out there that is probably 40, 41, 38, 38, 39, and you're 50. Thinking that, I mean, this cannot happen again. Nobody really cares about me. Listen, the one that God has prepared for you, you'll be so blessed by that person.
Yes.
So, I mean, before we wrap up, I'd like for us to just say a word of prayers for people that are waiting, and waiting could be anything. Waiting, especially for a relationship, but and you don't have to know them. It doesn't have to be you. It could be somebody else, but not just even waiting in a relationship, waiting for some job, waiting for some opportunity, waiting for your career to show up, waiting for fruit of the womb, with whatever you're waiting for, we're believing God, because in the end, it's weird that it was when you were sick, it wasn't when you were on stage that He met you.
Yeah.
It wasn't when you were singing and everything was all shining and you have torn the whole place and people are crying and people are saying, that woman is anointed, I should marry. No, it was in your sick bed that it's just so powerful. Like, I'm having goosebumps, like knowing that it was when you were in your lowest moment that God just provided not just somebody to take care of you then, but somebody that can just be with you all your life. So that's so powerful. So whilst what God is planning, because as human beings we want things to go our way, so sometimes we lose patience and we'll cry, and it's okay, but just wait. What God is preparing, and nobody's story is ever the same. God will do the way He wants to do it by Himself. He's going to do it for you. They always say delay is not denial. So you just keep waiting, keep praying, then enjoy life like they've done. Everybody just, personally, I feel like if I had gotten married earlier, my career would have been a disaster. I just felt that strongly, and I just focused on my career. I just kept working, you know. And at the point I met my wife, it was almost like me and my son had prayed about it. Me and Brian, we came to America, and we're almost saying, God, if this does not happen now, and I would have never thought that some guy will come and say, there's one girl, if you talk to her, if you meet this girl, or if you see this guy, if you talk to her, or if you see this girl, you will leave where you are and come to our states and come and see her. We literally, me and Dee, we laughed at the guy that told us that. Lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, I was flying to that place. And then the woman that sat in the car, I knew it. I said, that's my wife. The woman, the first day I saw her, sitting in the car, and I told her that, hey, this thing is a go. And everything happened fast. So if you're dating somebody and you believe, sometimes relationship can be 3 months, it can be 1 year, it can be 3 years. Just prayerfully go through it and make sure you keep who you are. Don't lose who you are, what God has given you, everything that, you know how some people have kept themselves, the moment they meet somebody and the person that want to marry, they all lose themselves just because they want to make shifting all. So keep yourself. Every man, I'm going to tell you this is almost like exposing men. Every man wants that woman that they work hard to get. If they get you cheaply, they treat you anyhow. If the guy calls you once, you start calling the guy 10 times, the guy think that you are just cheap. The guy will just treat you anyhow. If the guy calls you the first day, I'm not saying taking care of the guy is not good and all of those things, but you know when to draw the line. But you have started cooking, you have started doing the wife responsibility as a girlfriend. So it becomes a problem. So prayerfully just know what to do, and God would always lead you. But I believe that everyone waiting, this year, everyone waiting, I decree and declare that even if the marriage does not happen, at least everyone will meet the right person this year. When we're talking about in the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, everyone that is watching this and believing God for anything, it will start happening. It will happen really, really, really fast. God will respond to everything with speed and with ease. You will not struggle to get that thing you're believing God for. You will not work so hard to get it. God will just make it available. And some of us might have to look around us. There might be a lady somewhere that you're not paying attention to, and God is just saying, this lady has been here since, you just have not seen. I pray that God opens our eyes, opens your eyes. I pray that God gives you clarity, because you need to see clearly. I pray that God takes away any confusion. You know, sometimes people will come in your life and there will be confusion. They will make you not see the right person. The right girl is there, but this other girl is just always coming around and forming friendship, and you are distracted. Everyone that will become a distraction to the right person that will come to that lady, today, oh God, that person will remove the person immediately. And then so that there will be clarity. Everybody will find everything that God has. It will be complete. It will not be halfway. It will not be crazy. It will not be something that you say, man, I suffer. It was no, God will do it for you and do it for you very well. In the name of Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Amen.
That was beautiful. Thank you, guys. This was a good time.
Yo, this is so beautiful. You know, this is probably, this will be the first. I know we talked about had done Phil Thompson, but this is literally the first time we're going to be having. And let me just say this, in case you have any fascinating story, beautiful story about how you met your man
Yes.
and all of those things. I mean, if you live in America here especially, please share with us. We might just be inviting you to come and share the story.
Drop it in the comments.
Maybe comment might be a bit, maybe if there's an email.
Give us the succinct version.
Yeah, okay, we're going to put an email. So you can just send us an email of some sort in case it's something that is much more you don't want to share.
Yeah.
Because if you share it in the comment, people would have read it.
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
you want to just send it to us on the email you're going to see on the screen right now, and then we might just invite you to come and share your story. Even if you're a single person and you're going through stuff and you want to share it, please send us an email. We'll be praying with you. These guys here, you know that they are men of God and women of God. These guys, they were preaching, they were speaking life. So, but we want to pray with you if you're single. We want to pray with you if you're waiting on God, maybe for fruit of the womb and stuff like that. If you're married, whatever it is, we want to pray for you. Send us email, even if it's just a prayer point about something you're believing God for. Listen, we've seen God do it for us. Amen. Same God. He's going to do much more for you. So if you have a prayer point you want to send to that email, please send it to us. We want to be praying with you, and we've seen God do miracles. Yeah. And God is still in the business of doing miracles.
Yeah. You took the word right out of my mouth, because the way we have all, the two couples here have been brought together was God. Like there's no other way you can explain it. And I feel like as people are sharing their stories via email, and we're going to start introducing some more of those stories, people's faith will start to be built up.
100%.
Like, okay, God, I don't have to do this thing for myself. I can't do it for myself. If I want it to be beautiful and to be complete and to be perfect. So people can be content in the waiting. Like, God, you can literally, I always say it, send someone's husband to their doorstep, because I tell people that that's how God did it for me. I was in my living room, and I always had a personal joke of like, oh, I have to go out and I have to get out because my husband isn't going to find me in my living room. You hear that. And I was in my living room when Michael called me and told me about my husband. So God can do whatever he wants to do.
It could be referral, it could be a get together, it could be in your office, it could be in the church, wherever you are, serve well.
Serve and serve well.
That's funny though.
Yeah.
Living room.
In my living room.
living room too.
Hey.
Yes, she was. That's true.
All right, guys, if this has blessed you so much, if this has blessed you, please let's hear your comment. Let's read your comments. And then if you want to share a testimony or share something with us, prayer, whatever it is, or you want to share, or you want to become part of what we're doing here, just want to have some of you come around and join us, please send us an email with what you're seeing on the screen. Thank you. We love you.
Thank you.
Share,
God
like.
bless. Bye. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notifications, and share.
God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.
So thank you guys for joining us for another video. We're taking you guys small, through our meeting and our relationship.
Small is the Nigerian accent.
We're taking you guys through our relationship. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notifications, and share. Because other people can be blessed by this content as well.
That's my wife.